guess the question is, how did you transition from your previous expectation of your partner from, I guess, more on exterior focused qualities to more of interior, in this case, empathy?
I'll give you example of like, before, if I really deep thinking about why I'm so appearance or exterior focused, if I'm honest, partially obviously because everybody loves beauty, everybody loves being successful. Who doesn't? But on the other part, it's also about how would I look like when I'm with the other person who are successful, who are very competitive, who are very good looking. What does that relationship reflect of me?
Yeah.
So that's about getting external approval too.
And I think I'm going to go even deeper on this part. Why do we need the external approval? Of course, I'm exactly the same as you. I don't want to be a hypocrite and say I don't care. I care just as much as you do. And I think probably in my own world, I care more than you do. And I think that's true for most people. But I'm curious on your side, what is your reasoning? And have you perhaps thought about like, why do you need so much approval?
That's a very good question because I've been doing a lot of thinking on that perspective, not actually only from relationship point of view. It's more from individual point of view. I think that's related to my growing up experience. Grew up to be a so-called good student, and very articulated all the time. Always, spotlight, attention to spotlight. In a sense, that fits to my personal ego, but also, on the other hand, makes my valuation of my personal value very externally based, so very externally driven. Everything I do, like a lot of things I do, if I look back, stemming from external motivation. And recently, I've been thinking this problem more and more. I wanted to transition into a more intrinsic motivated mode. What I mean by that is external focused motivation. Your forever dopamine source with other external approval. It has to be more and more and more, and that's not sustainable at all. And you cannot control other people. You cannot control external conditions. So that makes the whole situation very vulnerable and not sustainable. And in a sense, are you truly happy? Like my happiness before was more, let's say, a spotlight, like an accumulation of happiness to that one point, and it's not sustainable. It's not like lasting.
So it's more like the apex,
Correct.
the hit you're always searching for, or you reach that. It's almost like your life is now on the peak.
Highlight moment. The highlight moment, right? Where you're looking for the highlight moment, but it's really hard and unsustainable.
That also feeds into a culture that we see in the moment is like productivity. You always want to be producing. You want to be the peak performance the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's actually quite similar
Correct.
in many ways.
So I felt like that makes myself quite tiring and make myself can be self-critical quite a lot of times, because I don't allow myself to be underperformed. I don't allow myself to have the moment of, laziness. And recently, I've actually been more lazy because of the pandemic, but that's another topic. So after I realize a lot of my motivations are externally based, I'm trying to refocus internally to myself and try to understand what is actually my intrinsic motivation. What actually makes me happy, not because other people's input, not because other people's feedback. I don't have a clear answer to that. I'm just trying to think more. For example, why do I like playing music? Does it because I can show to other people and I can perform? That's certainly also external based. For sure. Is it because my teacher said, "Oh, you did really well this week on this piece of song"? Then I realized maybe that's also not enough intrinsically motivated. I think the moment I felt really intrinsically motivated was when I, for example, practicing calligraphy or playing the instrument just for myself. And I'm really in a state of flow. And that moment when I felt the time does not exist and I'm just truly happy in my heart. And that's the moment and that's the intrinsic motivation I'm trying to seek. But I haven't really distilled that to a concrete measure of what is actually my fundamental intrinsic